the maintenance of the whole school. So each one from one or another front would have a responsibility in anything, but everybody would be actually having to be responsible for something. That's another great thing. I'm glad that Karina pointed it out, because that was another thing where you really learn how to do things.
And we called it house assistant because we were in houses, and what was the name that you were given? Was it like a dorm manager or something?
Yes, exactly that.
How would you translate that into Spanish?
we would call it a dorm chief.
Ooh.
Jefe de albergue.
Ooh, albergue.
Jefe. Yeah, albergue. It's a way to call a dorm. Yeah, albergue, something that houses you, gives you shelter. Albergue.
So you were 16, 17 years old?
I was 15.
Oh man, we had to work until 16 before we became house assistant.
Oh, well, you know what? Almost the same. Sometimes when you were 15, you're 10. It's your 10th grade. It's sometimes difficult to find people in 10th grade to have that responsibility. They would normally bring someone from the 11th grade, which is 16, and become the chief of your dorm. Simply just to keep some distance, you know. But I was named. Remember, I was clean. First, I was like for 2 months. I was the cleaning boss. I would boss people around what they had to do, and then that worked. Well, I remember my dorm number was 26. We were always at number 1. Did a lot of cleaning. It was a group of very nice people. A lot of cleaning, a lot of keeping up. We had our beds were made to perfection, everything in line. It was a beautiful place. And so when that happened, they named me also a chief of dorm. And I was that for like all of my 10th, all of my 11th, and then on my 12th, I said, well, I'm tired of these. You know, I got to pay close attention to my English and to the things I'm learning. And that's when I walked out of it.
Interesting. And so what did you do that last year? They allowed you to, you still had responsibilities, but you had less.
Yeah, actually when you're doing the 12th year, you're now there's so much vocational content during that year, so much so that only the first 6 months of studies count for the for your average, and that's only the first 6 months. You still have to pass the test for the second half of the year, but those numbers don't count. You just have to pass. You don't even care that you pass it well or not, because now there's so much of the decision process of what am I going to choose for my major. You're dealing with 5 different choices. You will create you'll be allowed to choose 5 things that you would like to do, starting of course by your preference. And you're meeting with people in those places. You are being taken, say you want to be a doctor, you're being taken to hospitals, or you're going to visiting factories or sugar mills or other schools to see how teachers work. Depending on what you're going to do, you're being given that bond, which they call in Cuba vocational orientation. You know, just to give you a real feel of what it is, because you might have an idea of something that really doesn't work in practice like that. And so there's people in the 12th grade are moving around so much that most of the time, you know, it's like if you do have a responsibility that keeps you tied to school, you're not going to do it well because you'll be moving a lot.
Excellent. Well, that's the sort of update that I wanted to just get from you. So I'm going to transcribe this and just throw it into an article. And then it'll be like a pre-article, just saying, look, these are themes just to get you started. We're working on a longer article, perhaps even maybe we could edit a book about it, because
Right.
it seems to me that it's not only what can the Beca system teach U.S. people, but there's this whole concept of the seed, SEED, a semilla. The seed is in Baltimore, where people go for the week. It's a big lottery. It's a charter school.
You told me about the system,
Yeah, so it's but are they putting into place the things that are in the Beca system? That's what I want to find out. Someday I want to, and maybe we could do a visit there and write a book about the comparisons. What can, and then the other lesson is, if you're not in a Beca, what can you do to build a relationship with a teacher in a safe way that builds?
That is true.
That is
true. If you don't have the system, at least you should have some of the elements of the system, those that are really proven to be good. I understand it's a different culture. We're more gregarious as a culture, the Latinos. But I mean, thinking sometime of the wall that I do see between teachers and students in America, it makes me think like, some of the most important thing in the world is being lost here. It's been lost because, well, I told you the other day, I mean, if you can't understand, how can you teach me? I guess you can't. I guess you won't. That's why you front. That's why I know my life is out of luck, fool. That's what they feel about teachers.
I need to get that. I need to memorize that one. Who is it? It's a rap song, right?
Yeah, it's Coolio. Gangster's Paradise.
This is the second time you've told me this. Gangster's Paradise. Got it. Okay.
Gangster Paradise.